You'll need an actual size drawing of your design so that you can use it to trace the pieces and get them the right size. You'll also need a piece of black paper for the background and the two other colors that you're going to use. In this case, we're using complementary colors. Now, in the back of my drawing, I've colored it with oil pastel so that I can use it to transfer the image to the other paper. And I put it on top of my yellow paper to start with, and then I'm going to draw firmly over the outermost outline. And I've got this speeded up to about 400 times what my actual speed is so that you can see more of the process in a shorter amount of time. I have to press down really hard and make sure that I have the line before I take it all the way off, and then I have to cut the shape out. And after I cut it out, I glue it on the black background. My next layer is going to be purple, so I put my drawing on top of my purple sheet of paper and trace the second line in. And I should end up with an image from the oil pastel on the other side. I cut it out, and then I glue it in the middle, and there's my second layer. Now for my third layer, I'm going back to yellow, tracing the third line in, down as firmly as I can, and then I cut it out, and I cover the back with stick glue, and then I press it down. Okay, my fourth layer is going to be purple again, so I'm going to trace my fourth line in now, and I should end up with a line from the oil pastels, and I do. And now I'm going to cut that out and glue that right in the middle of my other layers. You should be able to see now how each line inward toward the center represents another layer. Alright, my fifth layer is going to be yellow, and it's going to be smaller, so I don't have to use a whole fresh sheet for this. So I draw around my fifth layer. There's the line, and I cut that out, and then I glue that right in the middle of my last layer. Right now I have a few details that I'm going to make in purple, so I trace those on a scrap of purple paper because they don't need to be very big, and then I cut them out, and then I glue all of those on. Now once I have all my layers done for that part of my design, then I'm going to move to the smaller parts. And so this is my second layer. It's going to go on top of my first layer, which is yellow, and I'm going to cut that out and glue that on. And then my next thing would be to cut out the yellow layer that goes on top of that. When you want to cut out multiple repeated shapes, which is a characteristic that molas have, you don't necessarily have to trace each one individually. That would take forever. A really efficient way to do it is to use a trick that you probably learned in grade school, and that is to fold paper and then cut several shapes at one time. I'm fan folding this strip of paper here. You can see how I did it, back and forth. You probably know how to do that. And then I cut through all of the layers at one time, and it might be better to draw your shape on there, but you don't necessarily have to. I cut through all the layers at once, and then when I finish, I have several identical shapes, and it would take a lot less time to do than if I had to trace each one individually and cut it out. From looking at my partially finished design, you should be able to tell how you start with the biggest layers and then trace the smaller and smaller layers and glue them on top of each other. Here's my finished design. I could actually add more to it,